Kayla and Jason were waiting for this trip with great excitement, as they were bored and frustrated with the daily routine. After much planning and preparation, it's time to head out into the woods. Their destination was a remote and beautiful area in the forest, where they could enjoy the tranquility and scenic nature. After arriving at the site, they lit a fire and set up camp, ready for a quiet and fun night outdoors. They had no idea of the terrifying adventures they would face on this trip, and were looking forward to exploring the forest and having a good time. But will it be so? Or will they meet a terrifying fate on this journey? The truth is not yet clear, but the journey will surely begin unexpectedly. Suddenly, in the middle of the night, they were awakened by a strange sound outside the camp. The sound was frightening and unfamiliar. Jason decided to go outside to check on himself, but after a few minutes had passed, he didn't come back. Kayla went to look for him, but couldn't find him. The forest was dark and frightful, and the sun had set long ago, which made it even more complicated. Kayla was very worried, but determined to find Jason. She wandered in the woods for a long time, but could not find any trace of him. She started to get scared and startled when she heard another sound, followed by the sound of things moving in the dark. She had no idea what was going on, but she was ready to face anything. Kayla continued to search for Jason, and by that time, the jungle had become even more dangerous. The trees were dark, the sounds mysterious and frightening, and things were moving in the dark. Suddenly, Kayla stopped when she saw someone standing in a tree. This character was very strange. He was wearing strange clothes, and he was carrying unfamiliar tools. Kayla was very surprised by this scene, but she wasn't sure what was going on. Is this person Jason? Or is it someone else? Is he friend or foe? Kayla was confused, but she was determined to face this scene with all courage. In this last night was between peace and panic, as Kayla and Jason were awakened by a strange sound outside camp in the middle of the night. The sound was frightening and unfamiliar, and Jason decided to go outside to check. But a few minutes later, Jason didn't come back, and Kayla went to look for him. The forest was dark and frightful, and it was not easy to navigate in the dark of the night. Terrified and anxious, Kayla wandered through the woods, but unfortunately, she found no trace of Jason. Fear was creeping into Kayla's heart, and she didn't know what to do. The forest was dark and dangerous, and she had no idea what was going on. As she was walking in the dark, she heard other voices moving around her, which made her feel even more frightened than before. This was the beginning of the horror that would haunt her in the days to come, and she had no idea what was going on or what would happen to her and Jason. She was feeling isolated and scared, and everything around her seemed terrifying and mysterious. With every passing minute, fear and terror increase, and the matter becomes more complex and dangerous. Sure, here's an ending to match the scene. Kayla wandered through the woods for a long time, but could not find any trace of Jason. She started to get scared and startled when she heard another sound, followed by the sound of things moving in the dark. She had no idea what was going on, but she was ready to face anything. I heard a sound nearby, the sound of a large animal. She looked around, but couldn't see anything in the dark. I heard the voice again, this time closer. She was starting to get scared, but she knew she couldn't escape. The animal emerged from the darkness. It was a big bear, and he was looking at Kayla with his red eyes. Kayla screamed and tried to run away, but the bear was faster than her. He grabbed her leg and began to drag her away. Kayla knew she would die if she didn't do something. She looked around and saw a tree nearby. She pulled herself away from the bear and ran to the tree. I climbed to the top and stood on a branch. She looked down, and saw the bear looking at her from below. The bear was angry, and it was barking. Kayla was scared, but she knew she was safe. The bear will not be able to reach her on the tree. Kayla stood in the tree for hours until the sun began to rise. When it became morning, she saw that the bear was gone. I got down from the tree and started walking again. She was tired, but she was happy. She escaped from the bear and was about to find Jason. After hours of walking, Kayla saw a light in the distance. She went to the light and saw that it was a tent. She entered the tent and saw Jason sitting on the ground. "Jason," exclaimed Kayla. Jason looked at Kayla and smiled. "Kayla," he said, "I was worried about you." Kayla hugged Jason tightly. "I'm fine," she said. "I'm just glad to see you." Jason and Kale sat on the floor and talked for hours. Jason tells Kayla how he lost his way in the woods and how he found his way to the tent. Kayla tells him how she survived the bear. They were glad to have found each other, and they knew they would never be separated again.